The U.S. Army's 2nd Cavalry Regiment, one of America's most experienced Stryker Brigade combat teams, has officially deployed to Poland as part of Washington.
Europe is tense. Tensions have not reached this level since the peak days of the Cold War.
U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order rebranding the Department of Defense as the Department of War.
Касается возможных контингентов воинских в
Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid.
During that period, it was mostly the United States that carried the burden of major defense spending. But in the past decade, a new country has risen to the top of Europe's military spending: Poland. Its objectives are clear: to build the continent's largest and most formidable army, and behind this ambition lie sound reasons. Poland borders Ukraine, Russia and Belarus. This neighborhood fuels rising tension. Together with Turkey, it serves as NATO's frontier outpost. Recent developments have turned the country into the front line of Europe's rapid rearmament. A critical question lingers in people's minds. Is this truly a step taken for peace, or a provocation against Russia? Europe's militarization had been in steady decline for years. In NATO's European members, defense spending had been falling continuously from 1989 to 2014. Yet in 2014, a turning point arrived.
The use of force, President Putin declared, is a last resort, but the first shots in Moscow's occupation of Crimea have already been fired.
With Russia's seizure of Crimea, Europe was confronted with a new reality. The European capitals that had believed the post-Cold War order would endure were jolted awake by Moscow's move. Defense budgets that had long been shrinking, and in some cases even dismissed, were once again up for debate. For the annexation of Crimea had unsettled the entire continent's balance of security. By early 2022, military spending began to rise steadily. The reason was clear.
Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
The war between Russia and Ukraine that erupted in 2022. Moscow's full-scale assault on Ukrainian soil sparked a wave of anxiety in Europe not seen since the Cold War. The issue was no longer limited to the security of Eastern Europe. The war had reached NATO's very doorstep. And Poland, by virtue of its geography, became the nation that felt this threat most directly. As a result, in Warsaw and in other European capitals, defense spending became a pressing debate. At the forefront of this rise, shaped in part by its geography, stood Poland. In 2024 alone, Poland spent $38 billion on defense. Yet these measures received broad support from the public. Behind that support lies Poland's own 20th century past. During the Cold War, Poland stood east of the Iron Curtain, locked within the Soviet sphere of influence. Moscow imposed a communist regime despite the Polish people's anti-Soviet sentiment. The economy was bound entirely to central planning. Prices were dictated by the state. The consequences were harsh shortages, long queues, and by the 1980s, even basic foodstuffs had become scarce. For the Soviets, Poland was a buffer zone against NATO's Europe. But in 1989, everything changed. That year became a turning point in Polish history. After decades in the Soviet shadow, the nation stood on the edge of transformation. The Round Table talks marked the first major attempt at compromise between the communist regime and the opposition. At the center stood Solidarity, the movement led by Lech Walesa, giving voice to workers and ordinary citizens alike. The talks led to partially free elections on June 4, 1989. Poles went to the polls with a genuine chance for change. The results were striking. The opposition swept every seat it was allowed to contest. This opened the path to the first non-communist government in the Eastern Bloc. It was a breaking point for all of Europe. The cracks that had begun to appear in the Soviet Union soon reached the very wall that had shielded it from the capitalist West.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from Berlin.
From the Berlin Wall specifically, take a look at them. They've been there since last night. They are here in the thousands. They are here in the tens.
With the collapse of the Soviet Union, Poland charted a new course. Its gaze now turned to the West. In Western media, Poland appeared as Moscow's ally, an enemy standing against NATO. Yet much of its people had never embraced Soviet rule. By the late 1990s, Poland had joined NATO, and soon after, the European Union. Central Europe was turning blue, and this reorientation coincided with an extraordinary economic surge. From 1989 to 2018, the Polish economy grew by 830%, making it the fastest growing economy in Europe. But new military and political realities shifted everything once again. In 2008, Russia invaded Georgia. Belarus remained firmly under Moscow's influence, and the Ukraine factor was becoming increasingly important. All of this was turning Poland's eastern border into a critical line of confrontation. The threat was only theoretical. However, after 2021, that too changed completely. Mass protests erupted in Belarus against the election results. Demonstrators claimed the vote had been rigged. The government crushed the protests with force. The crisis crossed the border. A passenger plane traveling from Athens to Vilnius was forced down by fighter jets in Belarusian airspace. One of the passengers, a well-known opposition activist, Roman Protasevich, was arrested. For Europe's leaders, this was the final straw. Sanctions were imposed on Belarus and on President Lukashenko. Lukashenko struck back, threatening Europe with waves of migrants and even narcotics. At this point, Poland became directly involved. It shared a land border with Belarus. Normally, this had not been a migrant route. In previous years, only a few dozen people had tried to cross there, but that changed.
Lukashenko eased travel from the Middle East to Belarus. Düzenlemeler yaptı. Çoğu Irak'tan gelen
most of them
binlerce
from
kişi
Iraq,
Minsk'e
arrived in
ulaştı.
Minsk. Within a month, illegal crossing attempts surged past 3,000. Some called for aid to the migrants. But for Poland, this was a threat. To secure the eastern border, it deployed 15,000 soldiers and border guards. It was a military mobilization on a scale unseen in years. At first, crossings declined, but they remained higher than before. Chaos and tension in the region were exactly what Lukashenko wanted. This was a new kind of hybrid war. Poland now had to reshape its defense strategies against such attacks. Much of the border was sealed with barriers. Yet Poland's concerns could not end there. Far worse scenarios loomed. One of Russia's potential targets was the Baltic states. Like Poland, they were NATO members, and their only land connection to NATO Europe ran through Polish territory. And there is a very critical location between Poland and the Baltic states, Kaliningrad. European states keep a close watch on Russia's small enclave in the region. In a war scenario, it is expected to play a critical role. One prominent theory suggests that Russia's first operations would be launched from Kaliningrad. From there, a strike could almost completely cut NATO's ability to resupply the Baltic states by land. And that is why Poland, willingly or not, could be pulled directly into the war. In that moment, Russia's gaze would turn toward Poland more than ever before. Kaliningrad is home to the main base of Russia's Baltic fleet. It hosts multiple air bases, ground forces, tank brigades, and missile units. Estimates place about 25,000 Russian troops in the area, a number larger than the entire Lithuanian army. If Poland were dragged into such a conflict, its border with Russia would instantly become a front line. Today, 3 out of 4 believe their country must increase military spending, and they are willing to pay a high price for it. 1 in 3 even supports funding it by cutting social budgets or imposing new taxes on the wealthy. Poland now ranks among Europe's major economies, and in the coming years its growth is expected to outpace that of many European states. On top of this, it is on the path to building the continent's largest army. The war in Ukraine has changed everything. Today, Poland is spending billions of dollars to acquire new weapon systems. Its goal is to greatly expand the manpower of its forces. At the end of 2022, the country had 120,000 soldiers. The plan is to raise that number to 300,000. Prime Minister Donald Tusk, speaking in Parliament, declared the ambition to push that number to 500,000. For a nation of 36 million people, the target is strikingly high. To achieve it, every adult man is to receive military training. This makes Poland one of the few European countries where military service is mandatory. A notable example of this model is Finland. With a population of 5.5 million, Finland has built an army of 1 million reservists through decades of military preparedness. 20% of its population can be called into active service if needed. Poland is moving in the same direction. From 2026 onward, military training will be mandatory for all adult men. Women will be able to join on a voluntary basis. The focus, of course, is the eastern frontier. The fence along the Belarus border has been completed. Now it is being extended to cover the borders with Ukraine, Lithuania, and Russia. Poland is laying minefields along the Russian and Belarusian borders. Anti-tank barriers, fortifications, and bunkers are being built across the frontier with Russia. For years, Polish diplomats had lobbied in Washington for a stronger American military presence. In 2022, the United States finally heeded that call, stationing 10,000 permanent troops in Poznan, just 300 kilometers from the Russian border. And now the question is this: is Poland's strategy a wise preparation for the worst-case scenario? Or is it a dangerous step that risks provoking Moscow even further? Today, Poland stands at the forefront of Europe's rapid militarization, and it is preparing to emerge, in the near future, as one of the continent's great powers. What happens next, we will all witness together.